back, Wealth Builders, to another Wealth Builders Q&A. I appreciate y'all so much. We've been at this thing over 5 months. May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months. Going on 7 months. So I just want to say thank you guys for having faith and confidence in me and sticking around, right? I understand in our culture, the way it is in our culture now, people don't tend to stick around long, right? They tend to poke their head in and see how things are working and then they're gone. But a lot of you guys have stuck around, and I just want to say thank you. It's been a thrill just interacting with you guys through the community chat, through DMs, through the posts on the main Patreon page. It's been amazing. So I just want to say thank you for adding purpose and passion and people to my life. So thank you so much. I tell you what, you guys have changed my life, and hopefully, you're changing each other's lives in our financial community as you interact with each other. So that's the hope, right? The hope is we change each other's lives for the better through financial freedom, right? So let's dive into what's been happening. Well, at least according to me. And I think we're in the beginning stages of a massive bull run. Now that's my opinion, guys. Like y'all already know my whole routine here. I'm no expert. I'm just a regular guy here on, that has a YouTube channel, and I created this financial community to try to share my experience of 30 years of doing this. What did I do well? What didn't I do well? And try to help you guys miss some of the things that I didn't do well by sharing them with you, right? My opinion based on history is we're getting ready to run. And some of you that watch my YouTube videos on a daily basis, you'll know I've been saying this for about a week. I've been saying 5 months, the best 5 months over the last 60 years, when you look at it, the best 5 months to invest in the stock market, we're getting ready to come up on these next 5 months. The best 5 months, rather. You got November, December, you have January, March, and you have April. Those are your 5 best months over the last 60 years. That doesn't mean the other 7 months you can't make money. You can, but when you're talking about the best of the best, there you go. So makes sense if you're going to use big boy blue chip paper assets to build your wealth. It makes sense you want to be around these next 5 months, since statistically, from a historical standpoint, these are the best months. So get yourself in position, right? If look at your income, look at your expenses, and make sure you got money left over to invest. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I don't have enough money left over, then you got to get some additional sources of income. You got to get some additional sources of income. You certainly can go to my main YouTube channel, and I got a lot of side hustle videos and things like that for you to take a look at. Or you can simply just go to Google and just Google top 10 side hustles for 2024. Google will give you a lot of information. So my point here is position yourself. Be ready to run. And again, guys, there's no guarantees, right? We may not run, but history tells us over the last 60 years, these 5 months, we're going to run. And I believe that. I mean, when you look at what's happening or what's getting ready to happen, just look at this week alone. You got 5 of the Magnificent 7 companies reporting earnings this week. You're talking about Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta. These 5 are reporting this week, and if they kill it, that's just going to further reinforce that AI is here to stay, because you know that's what they're going to be zeroed in on. Oh, how much money you're spending on artificial intelligence? And of course, you know the hyperscalers in that 5, right? You got some hyperscalers in there. Microsoft's a hyperscaler. Amazon is a hyperscaler, right? And Alphabet. Those are your 3 hyperscalers, right? So, and when I say hyperscalers, I'm talking about these cloud service providers. Go out on Google and research that. Cloud service provider. It's 5 hyperscalers. I gave you 3. The other 2 are going to be IBM Cloud and Oracle Cloud. Those are your 5 top hyperscalers or cloud service providers. Now, there are other companies out there that do that, but when you're talking about the big boys, those are your 5 big boys, and we got 3 of them in the Magnificent 7 that will be reporting quarterly earnings this week. So put yourself in position, guys. The whole key here is to take your money, which is your financial wagon. I call it your financial wagon. It's money. You want to hit your financial wagon, which is your money, to a financial thoroughbred. And a financial thoroughbred is what? These big boy companies that have a historical track record of multiplying money while you sleep. So you want to take what? Your money, your financial wagon, and hitch it to a financial thoroughbred, which is these big boy companies. That's what you got to do. And when you do that and you do it long enough, history says you win. Not Richard Fain. I'm just history. That's the reason you have an S&P 500 that's been around for what, 100 years? Never went to zero. Started out at 0, but ain't been back there since. That's why you have that, guys. That's why you have the top 500 companies in America in the S&P 500. Why? Why do we have a stock market? Because it's a money maker. There's no point of having a stock market if nobody can't make no money. And for some of us, oh, the little guy can't make any money. That's not true. I'm a little guy, and I've made plenty of money. Plenty of it, and gonna make more. We got a lot of people in our financial community that are considered the little guys that have made a lot of money. A lot of you guys have made money today. So this whole notion of the stock market is only for the elite, that's hogwash. The stock market is for anybody that gets their mind right and want to make money and understand how to do it and has some patience, some discipline, and some consistency, right? That's who the stock market's for. It ain't just for the elite. Don't get me wrong. The elite manipulate it and they make a bunch of money too. But you and I as retail investors can too. That's the point. All right, let's dive into these questions because I know that's why you're here. And I know some of y'all only here for a short period of time. So let's jump on into let's keep the main thing the main thing. All right, here we go. Nick T. Hey, Richard, how do you think Nvidia will go up over the next few years? From more people just buying the stock or from Nvidia also buying back stocks too? Just curious your thoughts. It seems like people's prediction for this stock is all over the place. I'm like you guys, hoping this stock hit 1,000 a share or more. Well, here's my simple way of answering that question, Nick T. I just look at history, man. I don't worry about all this other stuff, all these predictions and all that. I just go look at history. When I look at this company from 1993 to 2024, the history don't lie, man. The history don't lie. When you look at market share in an industry like artificial intelligence, history don't lie. This is the #1 company. It is. And they got a CEO that's probably one of the top 5 CEOs in the world. And his mission is to be #1. That's his mission. Now, when you look at the experts out there, would you consider Bank of America an expert? They got him at $190 a share within the next 12 months. That's Bank of America. I don't know. I would consider Bank of America an expert. They're one of the 4 largest banks in the country. I would consider them an expert. All I know is this. When I got introduced to this company back in probably November of 2023, didn't know much about them. But from November 2023 to now, go look at the return on investment, man. It's crazy. And I know just for myself of buying this stock, individual stock, which I started buying it. Of course, I was buying it through the Magnificent Seven in my DCA, but I'm talking about focused on it where I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna go big on this thing, at least big according to my, my budget. I said, I'm gonna go big on this thing. I'm gonna do 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 shares. And I started systematically doing that back in what? Not July, but back in April, May of 2024. And at that time, this was a pre-split. Stock was, I can remember telling you guys about it in April. Not all of you guys, but some of y'all who watch my live streams on, every day. It was a Saturday morning. I told y'all about them. It was trading at $7.67 a share, pre-split. I said, guys, this thing right here is going to be a monster. Get all over it. It's going to be a monster. I'm not your financial advisor, but I'm telling you, man, look at this thing. And that's when I got on it. And since then, guys, it's doubled in value. It done went from, well, not all the way double, but it done went from pre-split $700, $500 a share back in January of 2024, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that in somewhere. Put it in Patreon in the comments down below. Somewhere around $500 a share, somewhere in that area, I believe in January of 2024. And now what is it trading at? $141 a share. So pre-split in the fives, post-split in the 140s. Now, if you take that 140 and you 10x it, you're at $1,400 a share compared to a $500 a share at the beginning of the year. Come on, man. This ain't luck. These people know what they're doing. You don't do that unless you know what you're doing. These people know what they're doing. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till Blackwell come out. See, you won't see any Blackwell revenue in the Q3 numbers that you're gonna get on November 20th. You won't see any Blackwell in that. But man, if you go do your research, Blackwell is already pretty much sold out. All they got to do is deliver. So Q4, when we get the Q4 numbers, you're gonna see some Blackwell in there. And then guess what they got coming in 26? Rubin. The successor to Blackwell is coming in 26. All I'm telling you guys is I don't listen to all that crap, all this other stuff. I might go out and do my little research. I'll go to tip ranks and look at what they got, what the analysts are saying. Great. I believe in the company because they're number one in what they do. So Nick, you got to figure that out for yourself, man. I'm in this thing long haul as long as there is no business performance issues. I can't sit here and try to give you all the analytical reasons why and, the PE ratio times I can't give you any of that. What I can give you is 30 years of experience doing this, and I know a winner when I see one. That's just that's me. A lot of mine is gut, guys. It ain't got nothing to do with all this other stuff these people be talking about. See, when people said Apple would never become a $3 trillion company, people said Apple would never do it. At that time, Apple was what? A $300 billion company. Correct me if I'm wrong, 2014, I believe. Either it was 2014 or 2010. I think it was 2014 or 2010 or 2014. Apple was a $300 billion company. There's no way Apple can ever get to $1 trillion. There's no way they can get to $2 trillion. Guess what? Blown right through that. They had $3.5 trillion on their way to $4 trillion. And they said they couldn't do it, but they did it. So I don't listen to all of that crap. What I do is I go out and do my own homework. I look at the CEO. I see where the company is positioned in their industry. If they're 900-pound gorilla, silverback gorilla like Nvidia is, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to stay in the stock till they get to $1,000 a share or till they prove me wrong. And right now they haven't proved me wrong. So there's no reason for me to bail on the stock. Now, you guys have to do whatever is right for you and your family. I can't tell you what to do. People short the thing. People do all kind of stuff to make money with this stock, and that's fine with me. All I care about is my strategy. See, I don't worry about everybody else's strategy. Only thing I worry about is my strategy. See, my strategy is over 30 years, and it's proven to get me where I'm at today. So I'm going to stick with my strategy. I recommend you guys figure out what your strategy is. No matter what the company is, no matter what the ETF is, figure out what your strategy is. And don't be easily confused. Don't be easily confused. So good, great question, Nick. My point is this: all the data points to this company going higher. Until I see, when I say data, I'm talking about from the company. I'm talking about earnings. You go look at this company's earnings over the last 2 years. I'm talking about earnings. Just look at their earnings this year. They did $26 billion in Q1. They did $30 billion in Q2. They're on pace in Q3, I think, to come in around 32, 33 billion and then finish out Q4. You're talking about 110 to 120 billion in revenue. That's double what they did in 24, fiscal year 24. See, I look at that. All this other stuff people be talking about, I look at the real stuff. Actually what the company's doing. Actually who the company's customers are. Remember those 5 mega caps I mentioned earlier? Guess who they get their chips from? A lot of them. Yeah, Nvidia. Now, there are other companies they use too, but the more sophisticated chips for those cloud services businesses, you can't just come with any chip for those guys. You got to go with the best. That's why you got Google and all these guys spending $30, $40 billion a year on chips. That's where the revenue's coming from. Plus another 100 companies behind them who Nvidia is selling chips to. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to stay in this thing until they prove me wrong, which I don't believe they will. I think they will continue to move on a course to $300, $400 billion in revenue. And once they get there, guys, they're already going to be 120 at the end of this year. I think they'll be over 200 billion in 26, over 300 billion in 27. And by the time 28 rolls around, they'll be headed to 400 billion in revenue. Listen, man, I don't know what the stock price is going to be at that point, but it's going to be more than $140 a share. That's my opinion. All right, let's keep moving on. Neil. What's up, Neil? How you doing? I see you doing your thing in the community chat. Thank you very much. Y'all are great in that community chat. All of my folks in the community chat, y'all are great. Thank you for your participation and making that a special place. Thank you. Big thank you, Neil. Big thank you, Nell. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Neil. It's Nell. I think I'm pronouncing that right. You know who I'm talking about. So here we go. I also want to give a shout out to Coach Donnie and Coach GB for their support in providing me the information needed to be able to buy gold coins. I just bought my first 2 gold coins today. I am happy that I did, and I could not have done it without their kindness and support. Thank you so much, guys. May God bless you. See, this is what it's about, guys. What this financial community is about is helping one another, right? That's the whole point. If you're going to be in there, help. If you're not going to help, get out. No negative Nancy's, no doomsday. It's just helping people. And that's what GB and that's what Coach Donnie did for Nell. Gave her gave her their opinion on gold coins. She decided, okay, these guys gave me some good information to think about. Now the decision is up to me whether I pull the trigger or not. And that's what we do. That's what it's all about. Now, one thing I don't condone is any unconventional investing. That's not what we're going to do in there. But we don't do any of that. We all follow the guidelines of the community. We're just there to help each other. We're not experts. We just give each other feedback, best practices, right? What our experience has been. And then at that point, we as individuals have to make a decision and move forward. So yeah, that's exactly how it should work. Neil, it should work exactly like that. And kudos to Coach Donnie and GB for helping out. That's what it's all about, guys. Just like that. All right, let's move on. Ted McDonald, thank you, Richard Fain, for everything you do. You keep us on the road to wealth, making us think differently. Keep coming. Knowledge is power. I agree with you, Ted. My whole deal here, man, is my goal here is not to be the only one you guys can get information from. I created this community so we could share information the right way, though. And we do, right? My job here is not to be the only one that shares knowledge. My job here is to be a part of a community and make sure our community grows so we can help more people. That's my job, right? And if you need to contact me directly, DM me, right? The best way to get me directly is to DM me direct, not in the community chat, not on a post. Go DM me directly if you want to talk to me directly about a situation, a financial situation. Outside of that, use the community chat. We got a lot of great people in there with a lot of great experience. And again, it's not about somebody telling you what to do. That's the wrong approach. The right approach is, hey guys, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Does anybody have any experience dealing with this? That's the right way to go in, right? Because ultimately, every one of us in this community, it's our responsibility when we take on an investment. It's not someone else's, it's yours. So do not do anything unless you're comfortable with it. I don't care who tells you what, don't do nothing you're not comfortable with. And my job here is just to be a person that makes sure we stay on track and be here to support the community. That's my job. Make sure we stay on track and support the community, because the community is not just about me. The community is about you guys. That's the key. Y'all are the key, not me, right? So thank you, Ted. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you a lot. I see you doing your thing in the community. Thank you. Only Lord knows. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope all is well. Thank you, Richard, for all you do. You're welcome. Lord knows. You're welcome. The patience in DCA is paying off. Time in the market instead of time in the market is the truth. That is one of the best Richard Fain quotes of all time. I am definitely excited to see what this new year will bring after these elections. Until then, I am going to relax and enjoy. Let's keep dancing, Richie Rich. God bless you all. Only Lord knows you're exactly right. I can only tell you guys what's worked for me. And what's worked for me is traditional investing, buy and hold, big boy blue chip, long term, period. In the community that I started, that's the mission. Now, whatever people do outside of this community is on them. But inside of the community, that's the mission, right? And I've told you guys this from the early days. If you just trust the process, you'll be fine. But you got to be disciplined, you got to be patient, and you got to be consistent. And just trust the process. DCA in, good times, bad times, in between times. See, the problem a lot of retail investors run into is they want to time the market. Because see, a lot of people want to feel like, oh, that's great, I got it right. Problem is, most times we're not going to get it right. That's why time in the market is more important to me than trying to time the market. When you try to time the market, you may get one or two right. And then all of a sudden, your confidence level is going to get up like you're really an expert. You're going to push all the chips in the center of the table. And that's the time you're going to get it wrong. And then you're going to be like, well, golly, what happened? Well, don't try to be the expert. Get yourself in the market, find you some good investments that have a historical track record, and trust the process. Lord only knows, thank you, man. I know you're trusting the process, and I believe, and better yet, I know you believe long-term you are going to be where you want to be financially. So thank you for trusting the process, rocking with me, and actually implementing some of the things that I discuss in my videos. Again, y'all can implement whatever you want to implement, But I've been doing this for 30 years, man. I didn't just wake up yesterday and start doing this. I've been doing this a long time. Again, not trying to be an expert. I'm just telling you, I done had a lot of L's in order to get W's. I'm trying to prevent you from getting these L's and try to get you some W's. So trust the process or create your own process. But I appreciate you, only Lord knows. Khalid, hey, Richard, I understand the technology market may be affected badly in case there is a war in the Middle East. My question, what are the stocks you may suggest for medium long term if that happened? I have my own plans and I am not willing to sell my Nvidia or Microsoft shares. Have a wonderful morning. Oh, that's a real easy question. Wealth Transfer Blueprint 1.0. I keep telling you guys, I don't care what's going on in the world. The stock market is about making money. I don't care what's going on in the Middle East. I don't care what's going on with whoever over in Europe. I don't care about that. Not that I don't care about the people. I'm just saying those conflicts, guys, are not going to stop people from making money in the stock market. It's not. It may delay it a little bit. You might get a little, you might get a little downside for 3 or 4 months because of something going on, a conflict around it, but it's not going to stop the stock market, man. You guys do know we went through World War I, World War II. We done went through a lot of stuff. And guess what? Stock market's still standing, still there, still making money. So for me, guys, I don't worry about no conflicts. I don't worry about any of that when it comes to building my wealth. What I concentrate on is what? Companies. Even though there may be a war in the Middle East, even though there may be a war in Europe, even though there may be a war somewhere else in the world, and the United States might be right in the middle of it, these companies are going to still make money, guys. Microsoft is still going to do what Microsoft do. Nvidia is still going to do what Nvidia do. Meta still going to do what Meta do. My point is this. My strategy don't change, guys, because of what goes on around the world. My strategy is my medium and my long-term strategy. Period. I'm not going to change up all of my companies that I know are going to do well because I think, oh, golly, they might do something over here and that's going to affect this. I'm going to move all my stuff to energy. I'm going to move all my stuff to utilities. I'm going to move all of my stuff to consumer discretionary. Oh, I'm going to move all my stuff and put it in gold. If that's your strategy, guys, use it. Go right ahead. I ain't got nothing to do with that. My strategy don't change. I'm in big boy blue chip no matter what. Guess what? I just buy the dip. If something happens over in the Middle East and America's in the middle of it and it affects our stock market for 6 months, a year, 18 months, guess what I do? I just go dip season for 18 months. Because I know at some point, all of that's going to be corrected over there and the market going to get back on track because it's about making money. America's about making money, guys. That's why we're capitalism. It's about making money. At the end of the day, it's about making money. And the stock market is a tool that the wealthy use to make money. So no conflict will change that. Unless somebody defeat us and we're no longer the United States, it'll change it. But barring that, the stock market is the stock market. Now, if some of y'all don't want to accept that, then you do whatever you feel like you need to do. If you feel like you need to take part of your money and put it in gold and have gold bricks, go do that. If you feel like you need to put your money in a bunker somewhere, go do that. Whatever you feel is safe for you. But for me, I don't want no gold bars in my house. I don't want no cash in my house. I'd rather leave my money in the bank or in my investments. And if something happens to those two things, then hey man, guess what? It does. I can't control that. Only thing I can control is my effort and my attitude every day, right? What I've found over 30 years, with all the conflicts that have happened over 30 years, with all the market crashes, great financial crash in 2008, .com before that, COVID, or whatever you want to call it, pandemic, all of that, guess what happened? I just kept buying. I didn't move my money. I didn't do anything. I just kept buying. And guess what? When I came out on the other side of all of those things, guess what my net worth was? higher. Why? Because I just kept buying. Big boy blue chip. Buying them at a discount. At some point, they go back to a premium. At some point, guys, they got to go back to a premium of what's the purpose of the stock market. I'm not saying every company will, but I'm telling you, if you buy historically proven companies that have a track record, then normally they come back, at least in my experience. So Khalid, you have to figure out what short-term means to you, not short-term, but what medium-term and long-term means to you inside of your wealth transfer blueprint. If you feel like, hey, any disturbance out here or this disturbance in the Middle East or whatever going to affect, I don't want that to affect my wealth, then you need to make steps to do that. Personally, I don't worry about that. So there's no step for me to do other than keep buying. I just keep buying. Now, if I'm somebody that's at the age where I'm not going to be earning income anymore, right? Let's just say fast forward 10 years from now when I'm not doing YouTube no more and all I have are my assets to take care of me and all this stuff start happening around the world and I get skittish. My money ain't gonna be in the stock market anyways at that point. Because I don't need that volatility anymore. I will take my money out of the stock market and I will put it in something that protects it, or at least the best that I can. Real estate for income, US Treasury bonds, FDIC insured laddered CDs, those types of things I would put my money in to protect it. And the only way I don't get my money back, especially with the US government or through FDIC, is if the whole government crashed. And if that happens, what are you gonna do? So I don't worry about that happening. What I worry about is over these next 10 years, I don't care what happens because I'm in for 10 more years. Even 5 of those years, if it's a deficit, I'm buying at a discount. At some point, this stuff will go back to a premium, and that's where I'll make more wealth. So for me, the blueprint doesn't change. No matter what's going on around the world, my heart goes out to any people affected by that around the world. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I can't control what happens around the world. Only thing I can control is what? Attitude and effort. And right now, the mandate is over these next 10 years, I got to get the net worth where I need to get the net worth. That's my priority. It can't be what's going on around the world. That's not my priority because I can't control that. I can't do anything about that. I can pray for people and hope the best, but I can't spend no time worrying too much about that other than I hope everybody's okay. Other than that, I gotta stay on the wealth wagon. And I can't afford over the next 10 years to pull my money out of the market and sit it somewhere for 2 years until the conflict is over. I can't afford to do that. Maybe some of y'all can, I can't. I can't afford to do that. So I keep my money right where it's at. I keep enough on the sideline to sleep at night, but the majority of it, 75, 80% of it is in the market, doing what I know it can do and what it has done over 30 years. So Khalid, I hope that helped. All I can tell you, man, is figure out what the medium and long-term plan is. Look at your investments. See if any of your investments can be affected by what's going on around the world, and then act accordingly. If you believe, hey, man, this company, this ETF can be affected by this, and I'm not comfortable with it, then take it out and put it somewhere else. That's it. You got to make that decision, though. As far as I'm concerned, that's why I stick with what? Broad-based stock market ETF. S&P 500, every sector, every industry. So I keep money there and I keep it in tech. Can tech be affected by something? Could be, but listen, man, just because they got something going on in the Middle East, that doesn't mean tech ain't going on somewhere else in another part of the world. That don't mean tech stop in the United States, does it? I don't think so. Tech don't stop. Matter of fact, it might ramp up. Because obviously, as more advancements come, technology is going to be probably the ones, fighting these wars. It's probably going to be a technological war. So I don't think tech will slow down no matter what. I think tech is the future. You can't stop that. So I think tech will continue to move forward. But again, we all have to look at our own portfolio, look at what we got in the portfolio, ask ourselves, can this be affected? And if it can, and you're not comfortable with that, take it out, put it in something else. That's all you can do. So let's keep moving. Let's see here. Got another question. Maybe it's a question from Nell Hey, Richard and fellow Nvidians, I left work around 4:30 a.m. this morning and now heading back home while listening to you. I would like to know what is your take after the presidential election? Do you think selecting one or the other would benefit the stock market, Bitcoin, gold? I know you're not a lover of Bitcoin and gold. Curious to know your feedback. Thank you so much for all the value you bring to the Wealth Builders community. May God bless you and every single wealth builder in this community. Hey, great question. Honestly, guys, I'm of the belief, at least from a historical standpoint, long term, I don't think it matters who gets in there. Again, you got to understand the way I think. And you don't have to think this way. This is just the way I think. See, I don't believe one person sits in a chair in some building and runs the whole country. I don't believe that. I don't. Y'all might believe it, but I don't believe that. What I believe is the 1% run this country. The wealthiest of the wealthiest, the most powerful of the most powerful run this country. And they put that person in that seat. That's the way I believe. So what does that say about the election? When it's over, right? When it's over, I think people will say, okay, sigh of relief. No matter who wins, it's sigh of relief. That's behind us. Let's go get this money. That's what investors are going to say. Do you really think investors are concerned about that? They're not. Maybe retail investors are. But your wealthiest of the wealthiest, they're not going to, oh, golly, this one person is going to tax us more. You know how many people have said that on either side? You know how many candidates say they're going to tax somebody and all this and don't tax nobody other than us? They all say that because that's a hot button for people. That's a hot button for retail investors. These wealthy people ain't got they don't care about that. Listen, these people are not worried about that being taxed because guess what? The IRS tax laws are for who? The wealthy and business owners. Those are the people who benefit from it. Now, again, guys, this is my opinion. I'm not saying you got to believe this. I'm just telling you what my opinion is. So far as long-term effect, whoever gets in the White House, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter long-term. Once that person is there, whoever it is, guess what? Maybe a week or two, there might be a little bit of, okay, things slow down a little bit, things pick up, you may have a little bit of discombobulation for a couple of weeks, but after that, let's go. I told you over the last 60 years, guys, and that's including election years, guess what? November, December, two of the strongest months in the stock market. And this is for 60 years, through elections. Just go think about any election. The stock market might for a couple of days, but after that, once that's settled, whoever's in there is in there. These people back to making money, man. They don't, because see, I believe they control the person that's in that seat. That's what I believe. So for me, I look at that seat and say to myself, okay, that's a figurehead. Of course, they're the president for our country. That's an important role. But no one person runs our country, guys. No one person does. They don't. Because if one person ran our country, guess what? All the stuff they tell us they're going to do before the election, they'd actually do it. Most of them don't because they're not the only one that run the country. You got the Senate, you got Congress, which is made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives, you got that. Listen, here's the thing. There may be a couple of weeks where things get a little discombobulated, but I think long-term, stock market's going to be fine. At least that's what history says. So for me, Neil, I don't really worry about that. I do my patriotic duty. I vote and I move on about my business. I don't worry about that because I know the 1%, they're not going to allow anybody in that seat to take their wealth from them. They're not. And guess where a lot of their wealth is? Stock market, companies. So they're going to let somebody come in there and do what? Take their wealth? I doubt that. That's not going to happen. So I don't worry about that seat. I'll be glad when it's settled so people can just move on with their lives. But far as I'm gonna do, ain't nothing gonna change on my end. I'm gonna still DCA, big boy blue chip long term. Tracy, aloha, Mr. Fain and Wealth Builders. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. I notice you seem to have pivoted again in your stance on crypto and or precious metals. Nothing wrong with that. We all know that in the stock market, pivoting is sometimes essential. When Warren Buffett mentions this. Can you explain why you are advocating, once again, BTC, precious metals, and you are actually mentioned Shiba Inu in your recent, I didn't mention no Shiba Inu in my recent videos. I'm not sure. I'm not advocating, listen, and Tracy, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to, I'm not sure what videos I talked about. Now I might have said something to the fact that if you want to go buy gold, buy it. If you want to go buy crypto, buy it. It's your wealth transfer blueprint. But obviously, you know, I don't buy gold. I don't buy crypto. You know, I bought Shiba Inu and Dogecoin 2-3 years ago because it was a penny a piece. So I figured, yeah, I might as well get that penny go to the, it wasn't a penny, well, Shiba wasn't a penny at all. It was way below a penny. But I said, if Shiba gets to a penny, I can make a lot of money for a couple $1,000s invested. Looked at Doge. I said, well, Doge, 7 cents a coin. Let me get me a couple $1,000s worth. Who knows, man, what this thing might do. So that's my extent of crypto. I got about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of Shiba Inu and Doge, meme coins. That's it. There's nothing else in my portfolio other than those two little things for crypto. I don't buy Bitcoin. I don't buy Ethereum, but that doesn't mean you guys can't. If you want to go buy it and you believe in it, go buy it. I don't believe in it. I think it's a Ponzi scheme. But that's just my opinion. And y'all know I went on record and told y'all that. But that don't mean you got to think that way. You can go buy whatever crypto you want to buy. What I'm not going to tolerate is it being widely discussed in this community, because I know what the history of this thing has been. Now, if individually we want to go buy it, fine. That's your wealth transfer blueprint. But there's integrity that I got to keep inside a community that I'm attached to and I started. And that is, we're going to do traditional, big boy blue chip, buy and hold paper assets. Whatever you do outside of that is your thing. I ain't got no problem with that. I have no problem with community members buying crypto. If that's what you want to do with your money, go get it. So if I said something in a video, let me be crystal clear. I don't believe in crypto. I don't buy crypto. I buy big boy, blue chip, traditional investing, traditional companies. That's what I buy. That and ETFs with traditional companies. I don't spend any money on Bitcoin. I don't have no Bitcoin. I don't have no Ethereum. None. And I never will, because it's not my thing. I don't want to put my money in something that has no underlying value. There is no operating company. There is no product. There is nothing tangible I can grab a hold to other than what somebody says it's worth. That's not enough for me. But that doesn't mean it ain't enough for you, right? So if I said anything about gold, if I said anything about Bitcoin, it wasn't I would have it in my portfolio, because I wouldn't. I wouldn't have gold in my portfolio. That just makes no sense to me. But that doesn't mean it doesn't make any sense for someone else out there that believes in gold as a hedge against whatever that might happen in the United States, right? So a lot of people buy gold because if something happens to the dollar, something happens to their investments, at least they got the gold. They can take that gold and barter. And ain't nothing wrong with that, guys. I don't believe in that concept. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe there's something that catastrophic is going to happen that the only thing I can trade for the rest of my life is gold. I don't believe that. That doesn't mean you can't buy it. So I do not buy gold. I do not buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, any crypto other than a little bit of Doge and Shiba that I bought 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Maybe I bought it in 22. Maybe it was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And I told you why I bought that, just as a low risk, potential high reward, right? Bought it for dirt cheap. If something crazy happens, an army of people get behind this thing and take it to a penny, I just made a bunch of money. But other than that, it's $3,000 or $4,000. That's nothing when it comes to the other investments that I buy. So I don't have a problem with community members buying gold. I don't have a problem with community members buying whatever crypto you want to buy. what I will have a problem with if we try and talk about that stuff in the community chat. I'm gonna have a problem with it because I know the majority of the people, they don't understand crypto. They don't. And from my history with crypto and what I've seen for a long time on YouTube, the pump and dumps, all these meme coins, and all these people have lost all their life savings. Just 2 years ago, guys, a year ago, 2 years ago, you had all these crypto lenders and these crypto exchanges taking in billions and billions and billions of dollars from retail investors. And guess what? Probably 95% of them are bankrupt. They're in bankruptcy court. People lost their life savings chasing this stuff. Now, that doesn't mean everybody gonna do that, but I'm just telling you, that's my history that I see with it. So no, I don't buy it, but I don't harp any ill will for somebody else that buys it. So if I communicated that wrong, Tracy, my apology. I don't remember saying anything like that in my videos. I'm pretty even. Now, like I said, I may have said, hey guys, if you want to buy it, go ahead. Crypto is an asset class, but far as me buying it, I never would buy it. So hopefully that cleared that up. But again, if you like it, just like Nell, a couple questions ago, Nell said she bought some gold. I ain't got no problem with that. I don't got no problem with that. That's Nell's financial plan. And if she believes that's good for her portfolio, hey man, go get it. I'm all for that. I just want to make sure I keep the integrity of this financial community exactly the way it started. Traditional investing, buy and hold, big boy blue chip, long term. That's all I want to preserve inside of this financial community. What goes on my YouTube channel is totally different, guys, because it's a different animal. It's a whole different animal on my YouTube channel. So I know a lot of y'all will see the things that I do on the YouTube channel, or some of the things that I say, or some of the titles, and it gets you confused. Guys, you can't get confused. It's two separate things. YouTube is a business. It's a business. And there's a way you run your business so that your business is profitable. That doesn't mean you have to compromise your integrity to do that, because I don't. But I understand the game, right? I understand how YouTube works. So I play to that algorithm so that I can do the things that I need to do for my business. But when I'm in the community, that's a whole different animal. That's why you see in this community, guys, I don't try to sell you guys anything, and I don't allow anybody else to try to sell you nothing, because that's not the point of it. Anything I got to sell, I do it on my YouTube channel because it's a business. The financial community, in my opinion, is not a business. It's a place, a safe place for people to come to discuss ideas about traditional investing and help each other build wealth. Therefore, it won't be any products or any of that stuff from me or nobody else. So two separate animals, right? So, I just wanted to clear that up because I've gotten a couple questions about the YouTube channel as opposed to what. So totally different, guys, right? Totally different. And most of y'all know that because you found me through my YouTube channel, right? So do what you got to do, Tracy, on that one. I've given you my opinion on crypto, and again, nothing wrong with crypto if that's what you want to do. I believe it's a Ponzi scheme. I just don't believe in it as an investment. Gold, of course, I believe in gold. Gold is older than anything, but it's just not something that I'm interested in buying. So I don't buy it, but nothing wrong with buying it if that's what you want to do. All right, GB. Hello, Richard. 2 words I like to share: time, patience. Cheers. Cheers to you, GB. I appreciate you too, man. And I know you like to share, and you do a very good job of that. And I appreciate it, and all the other community members appreciate it in the chat. So thank you so much, man, for all your effort that you pour into other people by being there every day, being consistent, and dropping knowledge. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I just wanted you to know that. All right, let me see what else we got. Let's see if we got any additional questions in here. I just want to also say, guys, just understand that my number one priority on my YouTube channel and in the community is to help people. That's my number one priority. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to believe everything I believe in. But there are some non-negotiables when it comes to me, if you're going to rock with me, right? Right? There are some non-negotiables. We're not going to mistreat people, right? We're not going to be Debbie Downers or negative Nancy's, right? We're not going to be those people, at least not in an area that I'm in. We're going to be positive and we're going to offer help. As long as we do that, we're going to be fine. Take care of each other. And that's what I'm going to always do. I'm never going to put money before you guys, ever. It's just not going to happen. I'm never going to do that. And I'm never going to tell you what you're doing is wrong. I may tell you, hey, we ain't going to have that in this community, but I'm never going to tell you that's wrong. That's your wealth building process, man. You do whatever you want to do. I'm just one guy. You do not have to do everything I do. You can do whatever you want to do. I just know inside this community, there are certain things we got to abide by. And as long as you're comfortable with that, we're going to be good. Know that I'm here to help you if you need help. All you got to do is DM me. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Because I see we got some more questions. Ted McDonald, any homework we should be doing? Anyone have any new shorties this week? You know, let's start with homework. I think for all of us, it's always a good idea to understand about what you're investing in, right? Let's say you invest in the S&P 500. It's always a good idea to kind of know what's going on with the S&P 500. Get out online and do a little research. What new companies are going to be added to the S&P 500 or have a good chance of being added? That's an investment opportunity because we know once a company is added to the S&P, it typically, the stock price goes up. So that would be a good little research for some people that like the S&P 500. You can go right on Google and ask Google or ChatGPT, what are companies who are going to be added or could be added to the S&P 500 over the next 12 months, next 18 months, next 24 months. Boom, there's some research for you to, and then you can say to yourself, well, golly, if this company over here, similar to Palantir was just added, guys, and the stock price is doing pretty good, gradually starting to go up. Why? Because it's been added to the big boy. So now inherently it's a big boy. More people want to buy it. They trust the S&P 500 index. Well, golly, if S&P 500 index put them in there, they got to be pretty decent. Let's give them a try. So what I would say is go out and research the investments that you currently got, especially your ETFs. Another thing you want to research a little bit are the industries. If you got individual stocks, go take a look at your individual stocks, see what industries those companies are in, and then go to Google, ChatGPT, and say, hey, what are some up-and-coming companies in this industry? And they're going to give you a list of companies. All you got to do then is just start looking at them. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for revenue. I'm looking for profit. I'm looking for where are they positioned in their industry when it comes to market share? What separates them from the rest of the industry or other companies that are trying to penetrate that industry? What separates them? What is their secret sauce? Where do I find out all that information I just said? Go to the company's website, guys. If they're a publicly traded company, by law, they have to have an investor relations where you can go in there and look at all of their financial statements, where you can go look at anything you want to look at when it comes to financials. Plus, those companies are going to tell you what they do and what their secret sauce is. See, these are the things I would be researching, guys, if I were y'all. Right? If I'm in ETFs, let me figure out what's getting ready to come into that ETF. If I'm in the S&P, what's coming in? What's coming in over the next 12 months? What companies have a good chance of being added to the S&P? That's a good opportunity, right? To strike before they get to the S&P. Get you some upside. If I'm looking at individual stocks, What other companies are up and coming in this industry? What's their secret sauce? Do they have a chance to be a big company? That's there, right? And I don't have to be a bunch of stuff that you do that. Just get your one or two and just do a little research every day. Oh, I don't know what to look for. I just told you what to look for. When you go look at the financial statements, or when you go look at the revenue, guess what you're looking for? I want to see the revenue going up every year. I don't want to see it going down. That's not good. So I ain't got to be some, international banker to understand I want revenue to go up. No different than you and me. Let's say I'm a corporation and my little paycheck, the check that I get, I'm a corporation now. I'm my own corporation. What do I want to do every year? I want my income to go up. That's a good thing. I don't want my income to go down every year. Companies are the same way, guys. I don't care if they're gigantic companies like Nvidia or a little small mom and pop on the side of the corner store. Doesn't matter. If it's a business or if it's an individual and we're bringing in income, we want that income to go up. Then the next thing we want to do is what? We want to manage our expenses so that what? We got profit left over at the end of the year. So the next thing I want to see on a company is what? I want to see profit going up every year. I don't care if it go up by $1. It's going up. That's positive. So I want to look for revenue trends and I want to look for profitability trends. And all trends means is over a period of time, I want to see that thing go up, not down. If it's going down and there's no logical reason for it, or they're just not running the company well, there's your cue to just take that one off the list. So that's it, guys. You don't need to be some Wall Street analyst to do that. You can go to a company. You can go to a company like Nvidia and go to their website. Go down to the bottom of the landing page. You're going to see some stuff down there. And one of the things you're going to see is going to say investor relations. Click on it. You can pull up the financials. You can pull up the quarterly reports for the last 4 quarters. And the only thing you want to concentrate, at least me, this is the only thing I concentrate on. I concentrate on revenue and I concentrate on profitability. Is the revenue going up and is the profitability going up? Those are 2 good things. And then I might go to the balance sheet and I might look at the balance sheet and I want to look for what? FCF, free cash flow. There's going to be a line item somewhere on that balance sheet that says free cash flow. I want to look at the free cash flow, and then that's what the next thing I want to look at is the debt. I want to look at the free cash flow and I want to look at the debt. And for me, if the debt is tremendously more than the free cash flow, I don't know. I got to figure out why is that. And then somewhere in those financial statements, it should be able to tell you that, right? But I do want to see that a company has unencumbered cash so that if they do hit a bump in the road, just like you and me, right? Just like you and me, we got an emergency fund. Free cash flow for a company is their emergency fund. It's their emergency fund. Just like you and me got to have an emergency fund. I hit a financial bump in the road. If I ain't got an emergency fund, guess what's going to happen to my financial situation? It's going to go down the tubes. Same with a company. They hit a financial bump in the road. They don't have FCF, free cash flow, unencumbered to weather that storm. Not going to be good for them. So all you got to do is relate your individual to the company. It's basically the same thing on a small level for you and I to understand. Now, yeah, these companies are a lot more complicated than that, but I don't care about that. I look for revenue growth year over year, and I look for profitability growth year over year. I go to the balance sheet. Now that comes off of the income statement. And then you got a balance sheet. You got 2 statements basic. Now there's a lot more of them, but those 2 are the only ones you need, in my opinion, for what we're trying to get accomplished. So I got a balance sheet. What's going to be on that balance sheet? At the top of that balance sheet is going to say assets. That means this is what the company owns. These are their assets. So you're going to have assets And then under assets, you're gonna have a bunch of different stuff. Current assets, right? You're gonna have cash. You're gonna have cash equivalents. You'll have all this stuff. Only thing I look for is free cash. Free cash in that asset. I don't care about no buildings. I don't care about no intellectual property. None of that is easily turned into cash. All I care about is the cash on the balance sheet, right? In the asset part, I look at the cash. Then I go down to what? Liabilities. So you got assets, so you got the balance sheet, and then you're gonna have assets. And all I care about when I look at the assets is the cash. Because if I get in a pickle, if this company gets in a pickle, you can't sell a building in 2 weeks. So the building's on there, I don't care about that. I don't care about the equipment. I don't care about any of that stuff. Now, that may be concern to somebody that's finna buy the company or in a liquidation situation, but and I'm in trouble and I need to figure out how I'm gonna get out of this trouble, you better have some cash. Right? So that's the asset that I care about is the cash. When I get down to the liabilities, what do I care about? I care about the debt. I care about how much debt they have. And then I look at, can they service that debt? If something happened to the income, if something happened to the revenue, do they have enough cash? How long can they service this debt with their current cash? If something happened to the revenue. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, golly, they just stop paying the debt. Yes, you can do that. You can stop paying the debt. But I want to see that they have enough cash, and I want to know how long can that cash pay this not only the debt, but the expenses, right? But that's on the income statement. But on the balance sheet, I'm looking at the debt. How much debt do they have relative to the cash that they have? Here's their cash position. Here's the debt position. What's the multiplier on that? Right? And then at the bottom of that balance sheet, you're going to have something that says net worth. Now, it could be something different on typically it's net worth, right? You might have tangible net worth, but net worth. So I'm looking at assets minus liabilities gives me my net worth. And I want that net worth to be positive, not negative, right? So that's your balance sheet. And then your income statement obviously is your revenue, your cost of goods, your expenses, and then your profit. I want to see some profit, right? So that's it, man. That's all I'm looking for when I look at these companies, man. I'm not trying to get too much. That's it. I go to the balance sheet, look for the cash. I look at the debt. And then I look at the net worth. I go to the income statement, I look at the revenue. I look at the cost of goods. I look at the expenses, the G&A, general and administrative expenses, right? And then I look at what? Profit, right? That's what I look at. I don't care how big the company is, how small it is. Those are the things that I look at to help me get a better idea if this is a healthy company. If I see a lot of negative stuff on there, that's not real healthy. Now, some of these little shorts that I buy, they're not real healthy when you look at but they're in the beginning stages. They got investors pouring money into them that keeps them afloat. And as long as those investors are pouring money and they're working on something that could take them to the moon, it's worth it for me to take a look at it as a short-term investment. Not a long-term investment, but a short-term. So Ted, short-term investments right now for me, I've already discussed with you guys, Serve Robotics, Rocket Lab, Nvidia, and then what's the other one I got? Applied Digital. I'm sure in the community chat, there's some more out there. So Ted, you may want to check the community chat. Or if somebody else wants to dive into the comments here on the live stream post, you more than welcome to for Ted. But all I can tell you is, Ted, on them shorties, just know what you're doing, man. Because a lot of times these companies are not profitable yet, and you just want to be careful what you put your money into. All right, make it happen. Hey, Richard, thanks for sharing your knowledge and experience to help us learn and grow. I'm sitting here with my 25-year-old son who's listening to you for the first time, he's saying that eggs are way more valuable than gold. So perhaps best to invest in chickens. I do like chickens. So that might not be a bad investment. Aside from that, I'd like for him to hear about your suggestions for him getting started in the world of investing. He's looking into different opportunities to get his hustle up and money up to make some big life shifts. Can you share some of how you got started at this age? Definitely, I'll definitely do that. So here's what I tell all these young folks. This is what I tell them. You're 25 years old. It's the first thing I ask them, or first thing I say to them. Whatever the age is, right? In his case, he's 25. I say, you're 25 years old. When you're 35, where do you want to be? What do you want to be financially at 35 years old? You're 25 today. Where do you want to be at 35? And see, here's the thing. Here's with all people. You got to get people to focus on specifics. See, a lot of us, we too general. Oh, I don't know, 10 years, I just want to be well off. That's too general. You're not going to do nothing with that because when it gets tough, and it will get tough, when you generalize stuff, you quit. You got to get specific. You got to get laser focused on exactly where you want to be in 10 years. Okay, Richard, in 10 years, you know something? I want to be a millionaire. That's a start. At least I'm focused. At least I'm committing to something. When you generalize stuff and you never commit to nothing, it's easy to let yourself off the hook, guys. That's why I tell you guys all the time, guys, you can't be generalizing this thing or lackadaisical with it or you're going to quit. It's in our DNA. We're going to quit. So you got to get laser focused and get specific. I tell people all the time, goals, and I'll tell your son this. Goals, you got to create goals for yourself, but they got to pass through 3 gates. They got to be measurable, all right? They got to be actionable, and they got to be realistic. So any goal you set for yourself in life, they got to pass through those 3 gates, right? So for him, first thing I would want to do, when I was 26, I was a year older than him. I sat down with myself and I said, listen, man, you can go out here and have fun. You can go out here and party. You can go out here and do all the stuff that young people do. But by the time you get 35 or 40, you're going to be hurting. You have no net worth. And you're going to have a bunch of memories of crap that didn't make no money for you. So what did I say? Okay, here's the deal. I don't know much about the stock market. I don't know much about real estate. But one thing I do know is these customers that I'm working with in this bank that they just hired me and I don't know nothing about banking, they just put me in here. They're telling me this is how they built their wealth. Maybe I'm going to listen to these folks. I don't know. I have no idea. But they rich. I'm not. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what they did. I'm going to start putting my little money into the stock market. Don't know nothing about the stock market. See, here's a lot of people's problems. See, people think they got to know a lot about something in order to go make money. For some reason, we get trapped in that little trap. Oh, I don't know enough. I can't do it until I know more. No, you don't. People before you've done it, that's all I need to know. These people sitting in front of me that I'm talking to them about their CDs and they got all this money with us. And I'm asking them how they made it. And they're telling me they made it in the stock market. They made it in a business. They made it in real estate. That's all I needed to know. I didn't need to know much else other than that. So what did I do at 26? I came up with a plan. So I don't know anything about the stock market, but guess what? I'm going to take $150 every 2 weeks and I'm going to put it in something in the stock market. And I'll start learning as I go along. I don't need to know much. I'll learn as I go along. So what would I tell him? First thing I would do, I'd open up me a brokerage account and I'd start putting money into an S&P 500 ETF that tracks the S&P 500 index, period. I don't care if it's $50 a week, $50 a month. Start doing there. Start there. Start there. That's it. Second thing I'm going to do is what? I'm going to get me some income. I'm going to look at my income level. I'm going to say, well, okay, I'm making $1,500, $2,000 a month. If I want to be a millionaire at 35, that ain't going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. Now, I can sit here and fool myself that I'm going to put something in crypto and crypto going to blow up to the moon, and we can fool ourselves with that. But that 99% of us, that's not coming true. Nope, that's not going to come true for 99% of us. So what I would much rather do, just like I did, I said, you know something, I got this job, but now what I got to do is just figure out other skill sets so I can create other hustles, right? And I started with real estate as one of my hustles. I said, well, you know something, I'm gonna buy this house. I'm gonna live in it for a couple of years, but I know in a couple of years, I'm gonna put a tenant in here. That's one of my hustles. See, the hustle is I'm gonna do this thing I'm gonna buy 10 or 15 of these things over the next 20 years. I'm gonna buy 10 or 15 of them over the next 20 years, and I'm gonna do the same thing to each one of them. I'm gonna buy them in a decent neighborhood. I'm gonna put a tenant in them, and I'm gonna forget about them until they at least appreciate $100,000 in value. And I'm gonna do that 10 or 15 times over the next 20 years, and boom, I'm gonna create 7 figures out of nothing. By being patient, rinse and repeat, that's it. Second thing I would tell him, buy real estate, right? Don't have to know a lot about real estate. Get him a single family place or a duplex, live in one side, rent the other. And then the goal should be every 2 years, add another one. Add another one. Add another one. By the time he's 35 years old, he'll have 5 of them. That's a game changer. See, you don't need to know a lot, guys, about this stuff. You just need to go do it. I don't need a course in real estate to know how to go out and buy a duplex. All I need to do is go get me a real estate agent that knows that area, and I tell them what I want. I also got to have verifiable income. I got to have decent credit, and I got to have down payment money. If I can do those 3 things, I don't need no real estate course, right? Every 2 years, I want to add one. Add one. Add one. By the time he's 35, he got 5 of them. By the time he's 35, if he's putting $2,000 away, let's say he's putting $20,000 away every year. Now he's 25. Let's say he's putting $20,000 away every year. Let's bring up calculator.net here. I just want to make a point here because he asked me to, and I can't do it halfway, so I gotta, because I think this young man can make something happen here. Let's just say I get a 10% return. Why do you say that, Richard? Because the S&P 500 has delivered a 12%, almost a 13% return over the last 10 years. So I'm saying 10%. That's a discount of what the S&P has done over the last 10 years. So let's say he's putting in $20,000 a year for the next 10 years at a 10% rate of return. So at 35 years old, I'm gonna have about $325K in my retirement account. That's if I just do $20,000 a year. Now, if I up that thing and do $40,000 a year, which he can do, that's $4,000 a month. He can do that. He can do that. If he sets his mind to it, keep the main thing, he can do it. Let's say he did 40. Now at 35, he got $650,000 in his brokerage account, and he got 5 duplexes. Now he's 35 years old. He's a millionaire. Matter of fact, he's a millionaire. Because those duplexes gonna have at least $500,000 worth of equity in them over the next 10 years. Especially if he follows the blueprint. Buy in a neighborhood that has decent schools, low crime rate, places for people to walk their dogs and take their kids to the park, places where people can go have a nice dinner with their family every now and then, and a little bit of recreation. That's it. Not fancy, not very expensive neighborhoods, just good, solid neighborhoods where people want to have a good neighborhood. They cut their grass. They walk down the street with their pets. They have cookouts. There are neighborhoods all across America like that, guys. People have a desire to live there. They go up in value. You just got to be patient. So he's a multimillionaire at 35. And now he just does it again. Now he says, okay, I'm 35. When I'm 45, here's where I want the net worth to be. Let's get to work. That's it, man. So get a job, get an income. Matter of fact, get multiple incomes. Delay gratification, right? And just focus on what you need to focus on to get where you need to get. That's it. Number one tool to build wealth is his income. So he needs to go focus on income. He needs to focus on income, multiple streams of income. Don't buy nothing that ain't necessary. Focus on multiple streams of income. Get that income up. Invest every penny you can invest. Keep your head down for 10 years and you'll be you'll probably be a multimillionaire in 10 years if he does that plan. That's my advice to him. Let's keep moving. Y'all notice I didn't go away from the blueprint. I don't care what age you are. The blueprint is the blueprint. Right? Blueprint is the blueprint. I don't care what age you are. Maurice Banks. What's up, Richard? I have heard that NVTS stock is projected to grow 2,800% between now and at the end of 2027. I have been unable to research that. Would you please tell me what basic steps would you take to research that? Well, I've already researched because I'm in this thing. I got about 20,000 shares. I'm in it. I got in at $2.55, 56 cents, something like that. I was up today. I could have parachuted out today and made me $5,000 or $6,000. But I said, nope, I'm going to hang for a minute. So I looked at the 52-week low. It's $2.14. I looked at the 52-week high, and it was in that $8 range. Now, for you, Maurice, you might be looking at this thing 2027, that's fine. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Personally, it's a short. I'm keeping it less than 12 months. So here's the game plan. It gets to $5 a share. I pull the parachute cord. Double my money. And then I wait. And there's an opportunity again, I do the same old thing again. I already got my long-term investment, so I'm not going to turn it into a long for me. Could be a long for you. I just know right now it's not profitable. All that stuff I talked about earlier, balance sheet, income statement, it ain't looking good. That don't mean it can't be a big boy company now, because it's in artificial intelligence. But boy, you look at the balance sheet and the income statements, it ain't a rosy picture. So I'm not out to 27 on it. That don't mean it can't be a monster. I'm just telling you, for me, when I looked at it, I said, okay, I'm gonna take it for what it is. It's a short. Because what I'm trying to make sure I can do is, as they continue to get investment, as they work on whatever they're working on to go big, they're gonna continue to get money put into the company. And you never know when 900-pound gorilla might stretch out the gold standard and touch it, or some other company might touch it, or one of the big boys might touch it, then it go through the roof. I don't know. I'm just saying, that's my synopsis. It's a short for me. I'm in this thing till it get to $5 a share, then I'm gonna parachute out. I may go sooner if I don't believe you can get to 5. The whole point of my shorts is to make money short term. FCF, cash flow. I'm not trying to stay. I already got Nvidia and FTEC, MAG 7, SPLG. That don't change. That's long term. That's where I put money in for long term. These shorts, I'm just trying to make $2, $3, $4 a share up, and I pull the parachute cord, and then I come back again if it go back down. Now, could it run? It could, but it ain't profitable. It got to get profitable before it can get to wherever. I mean, got to get, at some point, it got to get profitable. I don't know when that is. It may be before 27. I don't know. See, I don't do that much research on these little companies like this. I just go in and look at the numbers, and then I look at the 52-week low, 52-week high, and I'm saying to myself, I buy as close to the 52-week low, and I just wait. It's a gamble. It's a risk. But it's a big reward, right? So I'm willing to take on that risk of going in at $2.55 a share and it go to zero. Then I get the L. But if it go to $5 a share, if it go to $3.50 a share, $4 a share, I get the W, because I'm gonna pull the parachute cord and get out and make me 30, 40, 50 grand and then get out. So I don't know long-term, Maurice, how this thing will do, because that's just not my bailiwick. I don't dive that deep into these little companies. I just look at the 52-week low, the 52-week high, what industry is it in, what's its secret sauce, what the numbers look like, and I pull the trigger for a short-term, FCF. So other than that, that's all I got. Somebody else in the chat, not in the chat, but somebody else in the community that has a little bit more deeper dive, you guys can certainly dive in here and make comment as well on Maurice's question to me. I just don't have a deeper dive since it's not a long-term deal for me. I told you what my game plan is for it. Regina Vaughn, good evening, future and present millionaires. Good evening, Regina. Stephen H., good evening, Richard and Wealth Builders. I don't have a question tonight as I am training my young nephews on one of my side hustles. Well, that's good, Stephen. I'm glad you're doing that. That's awesome. We took a break from training and we are currently listening to you. Again, thanks for all that you do, and thanks to everyone who continues to share their knowledge. Hey, you're welcome, Stephen. We appreciate you. And man, you're doing a great thing with your nephew. You got to catch him young, man. Train him up right. Get him on them side hustles. Get him to understand the value of delayed gratification, and get them to understand multiplying money while they sleep. That's the key to financial freedom, guys. You got to put your money in something that's going to multiply it while you sleep. Proven though, right? That's the key. All right, let's keep moving. Make it happen. Why do you say that the next 5 months are the best? Well, history. Go do the history on it, at least the history that I've done. I've looked at plenty of information that says these 5 months, November, December, January, March, and April. And historically, if I look at my own portfolio, if I go look at my own portfolio, typically those months have always been well, right? So that's where I got the information from. There's a lot of articles. If you want to go to Google, you can go out and see the research that's out there, and just go into Google and say, hey, give me the 5 best months for stock market performance, and you'll see the information come up. Again, guys, I'm one of these guys, when I look at something and I find consistency in it, like multiple sources say the same thing, and then I go and look at my own portfolio. See, I can go and pull up the statements on my own portfolio. I can go pull up last November, last December, January, February, March, April. I can pull up every month and just see what the returns are. That's all you got to do. If you don't believe in the information you're seeing online, go to your own statements, guys. You can pull up your brokerage statements. You can pull them up month by month, and it'll tell you exactly what the returns are. And you can find out for yourself. That's all I did. I just go back and look. All right, well, shoot, let me test this strategy. Let me go pull up my portfolio statements. All the big boy stuff, especially the ETFs, not so many of the individual stocks, but the ETFs. Let me go look at these ETFs, see what they did last November, last December, January, March, April. Just think about this year. What did the stock market do January through May? I'm sorry, January through June. Killed it. Killed it. S&P was up what? 14, 15%, I think, first 4 or 5 months. So all I'm saying is test the theory, go to your own portfolio, look at your investments and see what are the best months in your investments. That's all you got to do. I believe what the information that I've been reading is correct though, because I looked at my own portfolio and it backed it up. So that's what I hang my hat on, is if I don't believe something, I just go look at my own portfolio, because I can just pull the brokerage statements by month, right? Sweet Pea, hey Richard, on the last live, someone mentioned about shorting a stock and shorting stock fees to pay. Can you expand on this? No. I don't do any shorting anything, and I don't know anything about shorting stock, and that's not something that we talk about in this community because, again, I want to deal with just traditional investing because in my experience, that gives retail investors the best opportunity to do well long term. When you talk about shorting stocks, options trading, Forex trading, all this day trading, guys, that is a higher level skill set. Now, I'm not saying you can't go chase that, but listen, that's a higher level skill set. So no, I don't know nothing about that. Don't want to know anything about it. So unfortunately, Sweet Pea, you would have to go off platform and go out on Google and do some research and find out information about those types of things. But in my experience of doing this for 30 years and working with people for 5 years on YouTube through my YouTube channel, before I started this financial community, guys, I used to do 1 hour one-on-one sessions with people. And I would do those 1 hour one-on-one sessions via like Skype or Facebook, FaceTime, that kind of stuff. And what I found was when I talked to people one-on-one, just us for an hour about their financial situation, and I did at least 2,000 of those things over the last 5 years. What I found out from most people that I talked to that have tried any of those things that I just mentioned, I would say 99% of them never made money. Matter of fact, they lost money. Why? Because it's a higher level skill set. When you're trying to short stocks and all this other stuff, guys, you don't learn that in 2 days. You don't learn that in a weekend. You don't learn that on some course you go through. That's years and years and years worth of experience with the right technology and the right tools. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you don't learn this stuff because you open a brokerage account. Oh, I open my brokerage account, now I'm gonna just start shorting stocks. That's not the way it works, guys. So all I'm saying is, Sweet Pea, if you want to find out more information on that, you'll have to go to the internet. There's a lot out there on there, but that's not something that I discuss or we discuss in this particular community. All right, let's move on. Austin Lee. Hey, Richard, what were you most pivotal milestones financially? An example such as when you hit 500K, your stocks, you notice it got easier from there because of compounding or anything of that nature. That's a good question, Austin. I think for me, my goal was to get to a $1 million net worth. A combination of real estate equity and paper assets. Because at that time I worked. I didn't have my own business. So for me, my assets were real estate and paper assets. And I just said to myself, like I said, at 26, I just said, you know, by the time I'm 35, I want to be a millionaire, right? So what I did was I just kept investing. Like I said, every 2 years I'd buy one of these houses and every 2 weeks get the deduction going into the 401k for my stock market investments. And I just did that just 10 years, just kept doing it, right? What I found was, though, when I got to like 5 properties and, you know, I had, you know, a couple $100,000 in the brokerage accounts through the 401ks, I just found that the more I invested, the faster it went up. So then I started side hustles. So I didn't necessarily look at the investment itself and say, okay, I got 200,000. Oh, golly, next year it was 400. That ain't how it worked for me. How it worked for me was I said to myself, shoot, if I did this with just a regular 9-to-5 job, guess what? If I create some side hustles and I bring in an extra 100,000 a year from the side hustles, this thing is going to go bananas. So that's the way I thought about it. I didn't necessarily think about the investments going up rapidly. What I said, the more income I could make, the more I could dump, the more I could multiply while I sleep, that would compound it faster than me just the steady Eddie approach, right? Just taking the salary, you know, paying myself first, taking whatever I put in the 401k, saving my little coins over here to put a down payment on a new property. Instead of doing it that way, I said, I'll keep doing that, but I'm gonna go get these side hustles. And I'm gonna find side hustles that I can do with a little bit of time, but I make a lot of money. And that's where I did luxury watch sales. I would buy watches online, privacy in my own home, on the computer. I would take 2 hours every night, Monday through Friday, 2 hours every night after work, after dinner, boom. I'd sit in my little office, and for 2 hours every night, Monday through Friday, I would go on eBay and buy watches. I would take those watches, get them home, photograph them on the weekends, and by Sunday night, boom, they were up for sale. Rinse and repeat. I just did that over and over and got better and better. And before you know it, I was making a lot of money. And guess what I did with that money? I didn't go out and buy a Porsche. I took that money, and guess what I did with it? I opened taxable brokerage accounts because I had already got enough in the 401k, couldn't put any more there. So I opened up the taxable brokerage accounts and I start pouring money in there, but buying the same investments, right? And then boom, put more money into real estate, up in the level of property that I was getting. This neighborhood to that neighborhood to that neighborhood, just getting better properties, right? Better upside for appreciation. Better neighborhood I'm in, more appreciation. Worse neighborhood I'm in, lower appreciation. So then as I start making this money. So for me, it was about the side hustle, introducing the side hustle money to the investments. And I basically put gasoline on the fire. The normal compounding would have worked, but I was like, I got to get there faster. Because I said by 50, I'm done. I don't want to be in here till 60. I'm done at 50. So I said, golly, man, the rate I'm going, I don't know if I'll get there. I got to make more money so I can pour gasoline on that fire to make the fire bigger. And that's what I did with the side hustle. So for me, it was more about the side hustle money, pouring that into the investments that actually was the accelerant, as opposed to just the normal compounding on what I was doing. No, don't get me wrong, the compounding was great, but the more money I have in the investments, the more compounding I get, right? If I put $20,000 into an investment, I get a decent compound. But if I put $50,000 in that investment, I get double the compound. That's the way I looked at it. So the side hustle money was more important to me. And that's what I concentrated on. When I got about 35 years old, I started doing luxury watch sales and concentrating on the side hustle money. So for those 9 years, I was just working a regular 9 to 5, buying real estate what I could every 2 years, putting what I can into the 401k. But really what lit the fire from 35 to 50 was the side hustle money, because I was making this side hustle money, pouring all of it on the fire, and it just exploded. So that's the way I did it. That doesn't mean you got to do it that way, but I think that was the secret sauce for me, was the side hustle money. Can't pronounce that name. YUVRAJ Sai. Hello, Richard and Wealth Builders. Just wanted to say I'm so grateful to have you and the Wealth Builders help me in my financial journey. Thank you. You're absolutely welcome. That's the reason we're here. That's the reason we exist. Clifton. Hello, Richard and all the Wealth Builder family. Just want to take a moment to say that I am still here listening faithfully. Thank you all. Clifton, thank you, man. I know you've been rocking with us for a minute. So thank you so much for you hanging in there. And I see you in the community chats. I see you on the post. So thank you, man, for your participation. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Do you think Nvidia will go over the video for more people to buy the stock, or maybe we'll go back too? Just curious your thoughts. It seems like people are predicting. Okay, I think I did that one. Let me see if I got any more questions here before we get ready to wrap this thing up. Let's see if we got anything left. Let's see. Let's see if we got anything left. Let's see here. Yep, looks like we got a couple more in here. Let's take a look. Let's see here. D Fortune. Hey, Richard, I look forward to the knowledge you share with us on your live stream. Thank you. My question is, How do you evaluate the performance of an index fund over time? And what would you lead to suggest changing funds? Okay, for me, I do similar to the same thing. So if I want to compare them, let's say I want to compare SPLG to Vanguard, S&P 500, VOO, right? Number one thing I would do is that out on the internet through Google, you can pull up a ETF comparison chart, for the lack of a better term for it, but it will compare ETFs for you. All you got to do is type in the ticker symbol for each one, hit the comparison button, and it'll give you all the comparisons side by side, right? You can do it for 2, 3, however many you want to do it. So what I look at is 3 things. The 3 things that I look at performance, historical performance. How well has this ETF done compared to the index or the sector it's tracking? That's number one, performance. I want to look at the historical performance, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years since inception. Second thing I want to look at is the expense ratio. How much are you going to charge me to have my money in this fund on an annual basis, right? The lower that number is, the better for me, right? So I want to look at what are you going to charge me from a management fee to have my money in your fund. That's the expense ratio. And then the third thing I look at is the actual fund itself, right? I look at the history of the fund. How long has it been around? How much do they have under management, right? What are the holdings? What are the top 10 holdings in this ETF? What are the companies? And how well are those companies done? All of that stuff is right there, right? So those are really the 3 things that I look at D-Fortune when I'm looking at ETFs or if I'm looking at index funds. Those are the 3 things that I start with. So I start with the performance, because here's the thing. If I'm looking at 2 ETFs that track the S&P 500, guess what their performance should be at any given time? It should be the same as the S&P 500 index over a period of time. If it's not, let's say SPLG is right on point, but VOO is 50 basis points less. That shouldn't be, unless they're charging fees or something that are, netting the return down 50 basis points. So you want to look at that, because they should be the same as the index that they're tracking or the sector that they're tracking. It should be the same if they're tracking it. They're mirroring it, right? They got the same investments in their fund that's in the S&P 500. So I'm going to look at the performance. Also, when I look at the performance, I want to say to myself, I need at least an 8% return. Based on my calculations over the next 15 years, 10 years, I need at least an 8% return on X amount of dollars that will give me X net worth. So when I'm looking at these ETFs and I'm looking at, let's say for me, I'm investing for the next 10 years, right? So when I go look at SPLG and VOO, I'm looking at the 10-year historical return, because that's how long I'm gonna be investing, for the next 10 years. So I pay attention to their 10-year historical return. And if that 10-year historical return is lower than what my expectation is, then I got to pass on them and find one that meets my expectation over a 10-year period. But all that information is right there in front of you if you go use that ETF comparison tool. Or you can just go to the ETF website. You can go to Vanguard and look up VOO, and all that information is there. You can go to State Street and look up SPLG. All that information is there, and you can just look at them side by side, or you can go use that comparison tool and they'll do the work for you. And from there, I pull the trigger, right? I just pull the trigger. That's what I do with ETFs, and that's what I do with index funds. Just that simple, 3 simple things that I need answered. And then I go from there, right? TJ, I remember you mentioned you don't care as much about hedge funds investing in up-and-coming companies. Why is that? Is hedge funds not dependable when it comes to picking stocks, especially BlackRock, Vanguard? So I don't look at BlackRock or Vanguard as a hedge fund. They are I look at them more as institutional investors or brokerage houses or brokerage companies. I don't look at them as a hedge fund. And normally, for me at least, a hedge fund is a company that they have ownership. They may have other investors' money in there, but they could have their own money in there, and they're just out to make money, man. They'll be short term. They typically are not super long term. They're typically short term. They come in, they churn and burn, they do whatever they got to do to make money, and they're out. They'll short stocks, they'll buy regular, they'll do all of that stuff. To me, that's hedge funds. And I don't have a problem with hedge funds doing whatever hedge funds do, but I don't care if a hedge fund is in Nvidia, because there are. They're probably shorting them. I don't care about that. What I really care about is the company itself, right? I care about this company itself because I know if it's a good company that makes money, it's going to attract institutional investors. It's going to attract big, large brokerage companies like Vanguard through their S&P 500, where they're going to buy a bigger share, or their allocation to their fund may be more heavier towards a Nvidia because it's so profitable, it's doing so good, right? That's what I care about. Where and who is buying this stock? And you can find that out on the internet, right? It'll tell you which hedge funds are buying it. It'll tell you what's institutional buying it. It'll tell you which big brokerage houses are buying it right through the internet. You just got to Google it. So for me, I don't really, it is what it is with the hedge funds. I remember you mentioned you don't care much about hedge funds investing in it. Right, I don't. I just don't. Because I understand what hedge funds are there to do. They're there to make money. And they're doing the same thing I'm doing. They're just doing it at a level where they got more people working for them, more sophistication, more money. They're just doing it a different way than I'm doing it. I'm doing it buy and hold long term. They may be buy and hold long term, but I doubt it. Most of them are just in, they do what they got to do, they out, and they go to the next one. And they just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that, and that's what they do. And ain't nothing wrong with that strategy, but that's not my strategy. So when I see a company like Nvidia, and I see Wall Street aliens manipulating the stock, at least in my opinion, that's part of the game, right? That's part of the game. But I know the company. I know the company, and I believe long-term I win. So I stay in. I don't worry about them. I do like to see that when you look at S&P 500 VOO, you can go in there and look at the top 10 holdings, and you can see Nvidia in there. You can go in to see SPLG, you can see Nvidia in there. You can go to FTEC and you can see Nvidia in there and what position they have and how, I like that. So that tells me these big boy funds are buying up this stock. That tells me they feel good about it, right? Now, if I'm out here and I can't find my company nowhere in these ETFs, that doesn't mean it's a bad company, but I don't know, right? For me, I want to see my company. See, I know I'm going to see the Magnificent Seven in everything I buy everything I buy from an ETF or index fund. I'm going to see the Magnificent Seven in there, and they're going to be represented in a big fashion. I love that. Because not only do I got my skin in the game, Vanguard got skin in the game. BlackRock got skin in the game. State Street got skin in the game. Fidelity got skin in the game. Charles Schwab got skin in the game. Merrill Lynch, Bank of America got skin in the game. I like that. I don't want to be the only one with skin in the game. I want the big boys to have skin in the game to make me feel more comfortable that this is a winner, and they believe it's a winner. Why? They got more research capability than I do. So that's what I look at. I don't care too much about these hedge funds. What I care about are your big brokerages, your institutional investments who's managing pension funds and state retirement funds and that kind of stuff. Endowments. They got all these really, really wealthy families. They're managing them. Those are the people I want to see. Do they got this stock in their fund? And how well is it represented? And you can find all that stuff out by just going to Vanguard, pulling up VOO. Boop, hit VOO and pull up top 10 holdings, top 20 holdings. It'll tell you what they are. And by the way, VOO, $1.1 trillion in that fund. A lot of money. seeing that Vanguard only has about 9 trillion under management. VOO has 1.1 trillion of that in that one fund. It's a heavyweight, man. Heavyweight. Heavyweight. So there we go. I hope, TJ, that answers you. I don't particularly look at BlackRock or Vanguard as a hedge fund. They're much more than that. BlackRock has $10 trillion under management, guys. I believe, if not in the world, it's definitely the largest brokerage firm or investment company or whatever you want to call it in America. 10 trillion under management. Vanguard is right behind it with 9 trillion. They monsters. I'm talking about monsters. So I'm telling you, they monsters. They monsters. So when I'm looking for validation on the Magnificent Seven, just go to BlackRock, go to Vanguard, look at their S&Ps, see where they're positioned at, look at their information technology, ETFs or index funds, see where they're positioned at, see what they're buying. And I told y'all this a month or so ago. Once you see these type of companies start picking up, buying more of these shares, they go to the moon. That's the way I see it. All right, I think that's it, guys. Let's see one more round on these questions, and then we're going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all rocking with me and hanging in there. Let me see what we got. Let's take one more peek, see what we got. And again, guys, I encourage you guys, if you got questions, certainly please send me a direct message through Patreon so that we can get your questions answered. Let me see if we got anything else before I bail out of here. But it's been great, man. I appreciate all the questions and everything like that. So let me, do I got any more questions? I think that might be it. Let me see. One more. Going once, going twice, guys. This is the last one. We're gonna get out of here. Let me see if we don't have anything, we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it. Let me see what we got. Let me give one last go around. Make it happen. My son says thank you. Tell him he's welcome. No problem at all. Just tell him stick to that blueprint. Get that brokerage account open, start investing, get the multiple streams of income. And then as these rates come down, get him some real estate. Real estate, side hustles, stock market, hammer it for 10 years, just hammer it. Don't spend money on nothing else but that for 10 years. And I'm telling you, he'll be good. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get on out of here. Looks like we don't got no more questions, so we out. I appreciate y'all. Please stay on your plans, guys. I told y'all these next 5 months are going to be critical, right? Now, again, it's your wealth transfer blueprint, so you ultimately got the last say-so on that. But I'm going to be in the community chat dropping these wins. I'm going to be dropping these wins. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly what the wins are. So going forward, starting November, all of the wins that I have, I'm going to drop them in the community chat. This is what I bought. This is what I sold it for. This is what I made. So you'll know exactly what I'm doing in the shorts, right? Now, of course, I'm long-term in the longs, but all the shorts that I'm doing, I'm going to drop everything that I'm doing in the community chat, everything that I do on my shorts. I may even put the longs in there and just say, hey, here are my unrealized gains from what I've been doing. So everything that I'm doing, I'm going to share with you guys in the community chat. All right. I'm not going to really make a post about it on the main Patreon page, but I will put it in the community chat. So if you're interested in that stuff started in November, get yourself to the community chat and dive in, because I will be sharing all the investment stuff that I'm doing, and especially with the shorts, because I ain't done with the shorts. I'm going to find me some more here. Hopefully, I'm going to find a couple more this week and get them in the rotation, because I got some money on the sideline right now, because I did get out of Serve Pro today. I didn't want to get greedy. I said, let me go and get this money and get out of here. So I got out of Serve Robotics today, but I'll get back in it again. Let's see what it does. It might run. If it don't run and it gets back down to $8 a share or something like that, I'm gonna buy back in. But for right now, I got out, made some money. Tomorrow, I'm gonna see what Nvidia, I can't pronounce the dang name of the company, but I'm gonna see what they're doing tomorrow. They got up to about 290 today. Let me see if they can get a little higher tomorrow. Maybe they get to $3 a share. I might bail, take the profit and just wait, or it may stay. I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. I didn't bail out of them today, and I got close because it was up to 290, and I could have made, about 10 grand, and I said, I left it. So we'll see tomorrow, but I'm gonna be sharing that stuff because I want you guys to know exactly what I'm doing with the shorts, when I'm in, when I'm out. That doesn't mean you got to go in or go out. I'm just telling you what I'm doing just to give you a little bit of color on what I'm doing. And certainly y'all already know what the long positions are. So, all right, man, appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for rocking with me for this hour and a half or so. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. And like I said, get yourself in that community chat. Dive in, participate. A lot of good stuff happening there every single day. And I think that's where you grow. I think that's where you can get the help you need and to grow. Obviously, you can always DM me directly on Patreon if you want to. Certainly feel free to do that. But I recommend, if you want to grow, gain more knowledge, understand kind of what's out there, what's going on, you got to get in the community chat, guys, and be a part of that conversation on a daily. Building wealth is a contact sport, man. It's not a part-time thing, man. It's an everyday thing. Building wealth is an everyday thing, guys, and you got to prioritize time in your day to build your wealth or gain knowledge so that you become a better executor. If you're not doing that, you're doing yourself a disservice, guys. You can't just once, 5 minutes out of the week think you're going to be some world-class investor. You're not. What you want to do is tap in and start gaining some knowledge around different investments, traditional investments, but different ones, because all of us doing traditional investments, we got different ones we're doing, but they're traditional investments, buy and hold long term. But man, personally, I've gotten several of my shorts just right out of the community chat. Jumped all over them. I would have never gotten those had I not been participating in the community chat and been in there every day. So if you want to grow as an investor, you gotta spend some time learning. You gotta spend some time educating yourself from a financial standpoint, right? You can't do it, 1 hour a week and expect to, quadruple your net worth. You got to put some time into it. Just like anything worth having, you got to put time into it, right? So put time into your wealth building by getting into this community chat and participating, asking questions. A lot of you guys ask questions in here, which are great, but you can also go to the community chat and drop questions in there, and you got a lot of people that will chime in and give you their opinion. Ultimately, it's your financial freedom, it's your decision, but at least you got people in there that'll help you and that will give you their opinion. They'll give you some recommendations, and then ultimately you go make your decision. All right? Appreciate y'all. Thank you for stopping by the channel. Well, not channel, live stream. I'm so dialed into the YouTube channel, right? Well, thank y'all for stopping by the live stream, man, for the Q&A, for the wealth builders. Appreciate y'all. Like I said, have a rest of a good week. Keep investing. Stay strong. Stay long. Hey, don't let anybody tell you you can't have what you want to have. You just got to put your mind to it and go get it, right? It's already in the book. Just go get it. Put in the work. Go get it, right? Well, thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all stopping by. And like I said, I will catch you guys next Monday on another Q&A. And until then, man, keep investing, keep investing, keep investing. Peace.